The allied shinobi is gearing up. Edo Tensei is in place and Kabuto has everything ready. I don't trust him completely, but for now I'm going to use him. Let the fourth great shinobi war begin! Oh yeah, and I am reunited with Deidara-senpai! Okay, so I just got done watching Naruto Shippuden episode 261, and I gotta say, please tell me it isn't only me that got chills when Gaara was giving that epic speech. What's up, everybody? ForneverWorld here today to do my review of Shippuden episode 261, and for the most part, this was just like crawling over the line of getting to the war. The war is right here, and this episode brought us to the line, and for the most part, I was just like, wow, because Gaara's speech in this episode showed, first of all, character development, his personality's developed, he's developed overall, and it just really showed what Gaara has become from the beginning when he was just this tyrant, just kind of angry and hateful to what he is now. His speech, even saying, declaring, you can take my head if, at the end of this war, if you're still mad at the Sand Village, shows that he's grown so much. And it just really pains me that why couldn't Sasuke, see what Gaara saw and go through what Gaara did, because Gaara, went through a lot of tragedies like Sasuke, and stuff like this really just makes me wish that Sasuke could have seen the light that Gaara seen, but unfortunately Naruto couldn't get through to Sasuke, but at least he got through to Gaara. And with this episode, it was, for the most part, it focused on Gaara just giving this great speech, because the allied shinobi, they're fighting, they don't trust each other, they're like, oh, last time I remember, and if it wasn't for you Sand Village people, the third Hokage would still be alive, so they're fighting, and Gaara's speech put all that to rest, because they see that he's saying, I am young, I am inexperienced, I need you guys' help, let's stop the Akatsuki, let's get them back for what they did. And you couldn't ask for anything else. Animation, superb. Watching Naruto Shippuden in 1080p on a bigger screen is a completely different experience than watching it on a little laptop monitor. It just looked beautiful. Like, even the smallest scenes just looked phenomenal. I was so glad. We only got a tiny bit of Naruto in this episode, barely anything. It was just him again. We see an update that he's still training, putting blocks with Killer Bee, so there's not much really with Naruto in this episode. And the beginning of the episode, we see, basically the villain side of it, how they're getting prepared. We can see Toby still don't really trust Kabuto all the way. He's like, I'm not gonna let you get too close to Sasuke, because he really don't trust him. So we're seeing a little bit of more, I guess, insight on that quote-unquote relationship or whatever, basically mistrust, and that'll be definitely their downfall. And overall, this episode really just was one of those inspiring episodes, because it just showed a lot. Like, to be honest, the star of this episode by far is Gaara. Like, absolutely, there's no questions asked, because just seeing the character, like, he's evolved so much, and his speech was just like, that was some Martin Luther King craziness. It was just really awesome to see this come from Gaara, and it just really got me really hyped for next week. It was one of those let the war begin, because the previous week, the last canon episode that we had, it was like Toby and Kabuto marching. This episode was basically like the allied shinobi side of it, where they're getting ready, and at the end of the episode you see them all running. It looked beautiful, the CGI that they used to make the shinobis, all like when they were doing camera angles, they used CGI, and they did it very well. It didn't look like kind of messy or anything. It just looked really nice, and overall, it was a really good episode. And if I was to put one word to describe it, inspiring, because Gaara, everything that he said and did was great. Really just greatness. It was something very special, and it brings me back to when I reviewed this chapter. This content was the very first chapter I ever reviewed, and I knew right then and there that I was gonna really get hooked to this, and I never thought a couple years later that I'd still be loving the series that's more than ever. And stuff like this is why you become a Naruto fan, because it was just great. Gaara's speech was empowering, and hopefully we get some more greatness, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of the war. But overall, great episode. If there was ever a complaint with this episode, I'd say probably is one of my main complaints, and that's Toby's character design. I wish they would put a little more detail on him, because every time we see him, but I think that's something to do with the mask, that there's so much design on it that they can't put too much detail already, because it's like it'll be hard to animate. But that's just an animation gripe. Nothing as far as the content stood on its own. It was great, and it just really got me hyped. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. Let me know what you thought of the episode. What was your favorite moment? Do you think
think Gaara's speech was truly as inspiring as I said. And are you excited for next week? Because the war is going down next week. Get pumped, people. That's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Thumbs up, you want to see that war. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.